Hello and welcome, PocketWatch here, and it's about time for another episode of Fata Morgana and another short story called Defectives. About what it is? I don't know. Let's find out. What I think about when I hear Defectives? Probably Jacopo. Anyway, let's continue. In the distant Hoi era, while the Tokugawa shogunate governed feudal Japan. Oh, Yukimasa! Okay. I mean, that makes sense that it goes like along with the doors, I guess. But yeah, you know, Jacopo is pretty defective. Yukimasa Aida, we got his surname. Actually, it's his name. Yukimasa's surname, yeah. Yukimasa Aida made his living far to the west, with little knowledge of what lay beyond the borders of his own native country. The land of the rising sun was an isolated nation, turning nearly everyone away, save for traders from the few specific regions. In what era Muramasa took place? Sorry, random thought. And those restrictions applied equally to Japanese who had departed the country before they were put in place. Yukimasa was a third-generation emigrant, having never once set foot in his homeland. Huh. I mean, yeah, there was something about him never visiting his home or something. When we had his like backstory on the ship. I think there was something like that. And for that reason, as a child, he held a great adoration for the glorious nation described by his grandfather. And he was particularly fond of the katana passed down to him by his grandfather. Though it bore no name, the blade had a curiously bestial glimmer that entranced Yukimasa at the first sight. The katana had belonged to Yukimasa's grandmother, but she had passed away before he was born. His grandfather described her as the skilled swordsman, slight in frame, but easily able to take down several men more than twice her size. After his grandfather passed and bequeathed? What is this word? Bequeathed? 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 Can you just say like pass and I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I know what they mean by this because of like sentence, but I never heard this word. Under him, the blade. Yukimasa would, from time to time, see phantoms of the young woman drenched in blood. Jesus. The cursed blade. She had sharp, narrow eyes, like him, that looked more like his than even his parents. He felt almost as though his own reflections had stepped out of the mirror to cut him down, or like they were a pair of killers, standing shoulder to shoulder. With each recurrence of the illusion, it took root even deeper into his soul. Interesting. So Yukimasa also had some kind of like illusion, delusion, devil, curse thing going on near him that he could constantly see. That drove him crazy ultimately. Yukimasa grew even more certain that one day he would cross over into her world. That he was simply holding in his true nature. That the beast dwelling within would break loose eventually. This tale, however, is of the time when he was still more man than beast. Okay. So the backstory instead of like continuation. Because Beast is still alive in the second door, right? He killed Pauline and he ran away, I think. I don't remember exactly how the second door ended, but I think like he's still alive, right? You can remind me in the comments about the second door ending. He killed Pauline and then what? Did he run away or he... What did he do? I think he just ran away. Or maybe he actually attacked the village? So we can assume that he maybe died in the village because they were protecting. I mean, it's like whole village against one guy, so he could die, I guess, if he did that. I don't know. Maybe it's never specified, actually. In the wake of framing and killing 2 crewmates for smuggling Spanish silver, Yukimasa was having something of the identity crisis. Okay. So this is after the backstory that we had in the game. On both occasions, he had been smiling during the act, at least according to those who had seen him. If what they said were true, he wasn't conscious of it, but he didn't particularly doubt their words either. It was in all likelihood true. He had killed 2 men and enjoyed doing it. What unsettled Yukimasa most though, was that his initial reaction was, I wonder what I'm going to become. So curiosity instead of fear. Not a moment of concern for the man whose lives he had stolen. Once their still-warm bodies hit the water, that was that. He had no nostalgia of the months that they had spent out at the sea together. He didn't care what kind of men they had been, or how much their families might grieve over the loss. Yukimasa wondered if that made him narcissistic. Lack of interest in anyone but himself seems to fit the bill, but he didn't actually feel like he held himself in the very high statue. He simply had this vague awareness of himself as a twisted, unsightly creature. And that day, the ship stopped at a small port down to replenish supplies and give the crew a few days to stretch their legs. They were still about 2 months from the Amsterdam, where his beloved awaited his return. What a hellish trip that was. Crewman of the Western origin naturally muttered, if I never have to hear the word smuggle again, it will be too damn soon. The way the whole crew got their cheeks clenched after deaths about driven me mad. Not blaming you, I mean just how it is. Yeah, smuggling's hard. Apparently. Yukimasa shook his head and gave the man a faint smile. And in his mind he chuckled about how no one could see through his mask. Yeah, has been a pretty good mask. The blame lay with him for much more than just the attention of the ship. Real shit job you could stack with there. I don't know if you had been able to do it and keep straight face like you did. If I'd buy. Why you do like what? Like, who's doing this? What? Keep straight face like that. But you're itching to let off some steam, ain't ya? You can be straight with me. You can be straight with me. I could certainly stand for some relief, yes. That much was true. However, Yukimasa made it in a very different way. Come with me tonight then. I'm in a perfect place to get you just what you need. Okay, the tanned seaman smirked, which was all Yukimasa needed to know when he was insinuating. Yeah. He hesitated to come up with a response. Worried about Captain Asama? Don't, I ain't gonna tell him. Besides, it's not like he doesn't have to needs you get me? Doesn't have needs. Some of the crew knew that Yukimasa was semantically involved with the captain's daughter. The man standing before him seems to assume his hesitation stemmed from that. But Captain Asma would, as the seafarer had said, spend his time off satisfying his personal needs. That was just part of life on the sea. Everyone understood, and no one considered it being unfaithful. Requiring a ship full of vigorous young men to save themselves for their partners, who they would often not see for months at a time, could in fact be considered a form of torture. There were a number of brothels scattered about the port town. For them, sailors were practically the ideal clients. The ship only stayed around a few days to a week, meaning no time to get attached or cause other similar problems. But the only complaint a prostitute might have is that sailors tended to be quite pent up. They aren't the kind of client a new recruit could generally handle. That settles it tonight. Grab something to eat, then we'll meet up at... Yukimasa forced a smile for the man, who had taken his silence as the yes. Yeah, Yukimasa is going to bring katana, yeah. Literally. But he wasn't worried about Captain Asma finding out or being unfaithful to Pauline. He simply wasn't sure how he could trust the same recommendation. And the last thing he wanted was to catch some kind of disease. Yukimasa was paired up with a skeletal girl with faded brown hair, which she had done up so much it only served to empathize the lack of anything anywhere else on her body. Okay. Wasn't your idea of the perfect place? You can't deny his disappointment with his assignment. The boss said absolutely nothing of what he saw in woman. In fact, he was afraid he might snap her in half. As the other purpose heated up beyond the thin curtains, Yukimasa interest plummeted. Okay? If a woman tried to seduce him, he would act in accordance with the base instincts, but otherwise, Yukimasa didn't have a particularly strong libido, so... You're not into this at all, are you? Nah, it's fine. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you want to trade me for another girl. I used to have a few regulars, but these days I've got nothing. Sooner or later, they're going to toss me out of my ass, and I will have to resort to back alley quickies to make a living. You're a customer, you've got a right to complain to the manager about drawing the short straw. Huh. She sounds like the woman hanging from her last thread. I'm going to cause some trouble for you. Well, aren't you sweet? You're less, she said with a snicker. No murder is happening. I'm surprised. I object to being called sweet, but anyway, I stand out more than most, so if I make a scene, it's more likely to escalate. You went out of the way to explain yourself, so I object to your objection. But you have a point. But you do have a point. You are from the Far East, aren't you? Don't see many of your kind around these parts, so it's no surprise you draw attention. You know what? I've changed my mind. Don't ask for another girl. Kinda like you only come around once in a blue moon, so I'd rather not let you go. Let's both avoid making a fuss and stay here together. Make it sound like I'm some kind of exotic animal. Ah, you're cute when you scowl. We can find out if you're an animal later, but you certainly are exotic. You're not even going to pretend this is a business exchange anymore, are you? I mean, why bother? Just the leftover scraps that nobody wanted. There was something oddly charming about the gleeful laugh combined with the stream of self-deprecation, which would have been less of an issue for Yukimasa had he become physically intimate with Pauline yet, because by comparison, this prostitute would look like nothing more than a couple dried twigs tied together. And he wouldn't be able to see Pauline for another couple months, and he was beginning to think this guy might just do the trick for now. Okay. The ship was scheduled to stay in port for about a week. Although they would have to spend some more time moving cargo on and off the boat, the stay was by large a recreational one. Okay. It was in the afternoon, and while much of the crew had gathered together to go drinking, Yukimasa was taking a relaxed walk along the shore. He was no less interested in exploring the unfamiliar port as anyone else, but unlike them, he wasn't the kind of man whose first instinct was to go straight to the pub. They all jabbed at him for being stiff and tight-assed, no one the wiser to the primal urges he kept buried within. He's looking for the victim in the back alleys is something, you know. And he would have suspected either. Who could watch him walk up to an elderly man fishing on the dock, ask, "How's the catch?" With a smile, imagine a bloodthirsty beast lurk within. Yeah, like push him to the water or something. The man gave a lazy nod in return, adding, "Ain't hot bad today?" You're a sailor, a wager, am I right? When said as Yukimasa made to resume his walk. You are. Well, I'm waiting for you then, outsider. You do the best to stay away from any back alleys after dark. That's a push that he needs, yep. Now we are going to the back alleys at night. It ain't safe at night, no how. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, this is perfect for Yukimasa and his beast. Like, he goes to the back alleys at night, and, well, you know, I had no choice but to protect myself. Yeah, I massacred a few people, but hey, I had no choice. Like, perfect excuse for everyone else around. Yukimasa gave them a half smile, feeling somewhat patronized by his warning. He was plenty capable of discerning where the danger parts of town were, and he was confident in his ability to defend himself if someone tried to attack. There's already been several victims. Yukimasa froze. Oh? As in murders? Killer, dealers, and dead. Killed, dealer, and dead. What the fuck? What? Killed, deader, and dead. And they still ain't caught him neither. Wait, I will try to find what the fuck does it mean. I have no idea what that means. Okay, so that basically means that you are more dead than you would be normally. So you're really dead. It's like exaggeration. Okay. Well, I want any of our guests to end up next on the list. Out of curiosity, how does he kill? Gilman turned his gaze down, his face becoming a shadow against the clear blue ocean stretching out behind him. He dismembers them. Ooh. Hard to imagine, huh? Cutting person into a bunch of pieces. You don't discriminate neither. Man, woman, or child, don't matter don't matter none. He's a seeker, a complete madman. They ain't found no pattern to the victims either. Nothing to say who might be or who he might choose next. So don't think you're safe just because you're not from around here. Yukimasa could feel his vision narrowing, converging on a single point. Oh, he could imagine. He could imagine clear as the afternoon sky. And oh, how he wished that could be. Well, look who it is. Fancy running you into here. Woman's voice dragging him back into alley. That could be him, maybe? Like, he would like to dismember people? Drag him back into reality. Okay. He felt like he's been pulled up from the bottom of the ocean, and when he turned to face her, he must have still looked a bit dazed, judging from the way she raised her eyebrow at him. Okay. Well, let me guess, you don't recognize me or you recognize me not all made up for work. That's me, the girl from yesterday. Okay. She held her hair up in the appropriation of her previous night hairstyle, to which Yukimasa gave in faint realization. So what are you doing, wandering out here? Bored? Got nothing better to do? He wondered if the woman was capable of being less blunt, especially considering he had technically been her client the night before. Well, I'm just taking a walk. Is she a murderer, actually? Is she a psycho? Not much to see out there. I mean, that would be easy for her to, like, lure people, right? And that's the ocean. Don't you get enough of that when you're out on it? I will never tire of the sight of sea. Is that so? She said. I mean, the sea reminds him of, like, homeland, right? If I remember correctly. He likes sea because he's, like, dreaming of, like, coming back to home. To see his homeland, basically, because he never saw it. Something like that. If I remember correctly. Is that so? She said, fallen by the softer, slightly exasperated. I will never understand, guys. But a few seconds later, she gave him a big smile. So hey, you're not busy. Why don't you come to my place? I can throw together a bar bonus at lunch. Again, I'm taking a walk. And a bare bones is hardly a convincing sales pitch. I'm saying if you want a quality meal, pony up for some goods. Ah, so that's what she meant. apathetic, but finding any reason to turn her invitation down, Yukimasa agreed to go along. Yeah, she's the killer, I think. Interesting. So he probably killed her. Is this going to be like his like real, like genuinely like ill basically that he enjoyed? Because so far like he only tortured and like killed people in the ship, which is like fucking horrible. But this might be like his first time actually taking life with sword and stuff. I've taken a liking to you, she said. Stop by whenever you've got the chance, at least until you have to take off. I can treat you even better than when I'm on the job and free of charge. What do you have to lose? So that's exactly what Yukimasa did, seeing her become part of his daily routine. Okay, so they're actually meeting daily. Huh. The more time they spent together, the more he learned about her. She had once been married and planning to start family, but money troubles led to debt piling on, which led to her husband running out on her. And with the entirety of the debt on her shoulders, she had to start working, which was how she ended up at the brothel. As she told her story, Yukimasa showed a fair degree of sympathy, but took the whole thing with a grain of salt. If everything she said was true, she would have had a hard life indeed, but there was no guarantee it was. Yukimasa made it certain not to be openly dismissive or skeptical, though to play the good listener. There's one thing he could be certain of though. He felt a tiny bit of solidarity in the woman's solitude. The sense she was missing something. The sense she had a hunger. The sense she had a hole that couldn't be filled. The sense she was a defective. Interesting! It's about some random... Actually, this episode is about some random woman in the port when he stayed and spent some time with. Interesting! You know, we get on pretty well. Don't you think? Maybe you could, I don't know, take me to your mistress? She want to go to this onto the sea, she want to escape this place. Okay, I see. I see. She sounded like she was only playing around, but still he responded with, it's not wise to pair two defectives together. Okay. So it's about him as well. Yeah, okay, makes sense. What's that supposed to mean? She said with a scowl. Yukimasa's ship was to depart the following day. In that evening, the woman asked him to stay the night, to which he was unsure how to react. Don't you have work? I'll just say I wasn't feeling well. It's not like anyone wants me there. But don't you need I can survive taking one day off. I want to be with you. And with that, he could come up with no further objections. Regardless of what he did, he would be heading back out to the sea the following day, likely never to see woman again. So rather than waste time debating her own life choices, it would be easier for everyone if he just let her do as she pleased. Tomorrow, none of it would be his concern after all, okay? Yeah, she's definitely dead. This is like a huge death flag. Like she's going to try, maybe, and kill him or something. Because he refused to take her out of the sea. Or maybe she's going to at least threaten him, and he's just going to kill her. He agreed, and she gave him a big smile in response. I'm going to make you feast tonight, she said. You are paying though. Yukimasa wondered if perhaps what she wanted most was to play like they were a real family. That was probably it. What she was missing in her life wasn't love or romance, but something to sit around the table and enjoy a meal with. But that raised a new question. What happened after she'd had her fun? She found someone to fill the hole in her spirit. It was fake, and the hole wouldn't stay filled forever. Oh. I'm doing something terribly cruel to her, aren't I? Wow. A self-realization. There was nothing he could do about it anymore though. Even if she were to ask him to stay, he didn't have the option. May I ask you something, he said. Yeah? How did it feel when you lost your family, your sanctuary? Well, that's a hard question. You sure know how to go right for the heart. I apologize. I want to think about anything that might bring my mood down. If you want to know what it feels like, experience it for yourself. Find yourself a girl and get her to run off on you. Seemingly taking his signs for discomfort, the woman let out a soft laugh and said, "But I don't want you to go. I don't want you to have to go through that." Supper was a seafood stew, hardly a feast, but there was a homely warmth to the meal. Something she had likely honed over the years. When a man is incomplete, missing a vital part of what makes him human, what becomes of him? Does he lash out? Does he lose the will to live? Does he forget what kind of man he is? Kimasa? Didn't think he fit into any of these categories. Okay. In the middle of the night, Yukima silently slipped out of bed and made his way to the door. Okay. Murder soon? Wait. But he didn't make 2 steps before the woman grabbed him by the sleeve. She must have been awake the whole time. There's no way she could have noticed him, living otherwise. Don't do this to me. I had more than enough of waking up to an empty bed. I'm not going to let it happen again. Not this time. Okay. You may think sneaking off without a word is the cleanest way to end things, but you're wrong. Stay until morning. Let me say a proper goodbye. No, I wasn't. You weren't what? Of course you were. I don't care if you think of me as a free trial for the week. You're just going to forget about when it's over. I'm using it for my own personal satisfaction too. But the one thing I won't stand for is you just stand up and disappearing on me. Oh, okay. Interesting. So there's like deep emotional wounds here. That stuff happened to her like multiple times already, it seems. Or at least once when she was like truly in love or something. You are not the one being left behind, so you don't understand how worthless and pathetic it makes you feel. It hurts so much more than anything else you could do. Don't leave me. That was probably what she wanted to say more than anything else. The loneliness that had created a hole in her heart was making waves, and this was the real desire that lay hidden in her words. She didn't want to be alone anymore. I'm not leaving, I'll be back. There's something I wanted to give you, and I was just going to get it. And what that would that be? That's my way of showing gratitude. I think the word you're looking for is present? Yeah, that. Her eyes were locked with Yukimasa's. She was staring through the darkness in an attempt to ascertain how truthful he was being. Yeah, because he could just like say that lie to her and just like leave. After 10 or 15 seconds of glaring, she let him go. I won't be long, he said with a smile. Okay, where are you going? As he walked down to the moonlight port, Yukimasa's mind raced. No one truly understands themselves more than superficially. Some say you know yourself best, others say it's quite opposite. The concept of self is full of such uncertainties, contradictions. Yukimasa suspected he was suppressing himself with his self. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, you are getting full like explanation, like beast exposition here. So while he had a reasonable grasp on who his outer self was, his inner self was complete mystery. And that fact sometimes sent a chill down his spine. Who was he? What did he want in life? Which self, which of his desires was the real him? Self, he felt sick. About 30 minutes later he was back. Within seconds of him knocking to the woman's door, it was open. She must have been waiting there, anxious for his return. Okay. The woman met his eyes, gave him a pouty smile, and then slowly lowered her gaze. Her eyes gradually widened, shooting up and down as they did. What did you do? What? I've never been very good about thinking of anyone other than myself. I consider myself proficient enough at the conversation, but I'm not careful. But if I'm not careful, my mind always seems to drift back to myself, instead of focusing on who I'm talking to. That said, I've spent a great deal of time thinking about you. Demon took a step back. Yukimasa followed. So he's probably holding a sword, I guess. I've concluded this is the best way for me to make you happy. She didn't even have time to let out a shriek. There was only a sound of steel slicing flesh. Metal grinding against bone, as a nameless katana pierced the woman's breast. Her mouth flapped open and shut. Her eyes were held wide, fixed on the man standing before her. Holy crap. So basically, I will set you free from your misery. Oh my god. Jesus. Faint gasps escaped her lips in sputters. Perhaps she wanted to scream, perhaps she wanted to cry and shout and say this wasn't what she wanted, but there wasn't enough strength left in her emaciated body to do either. As blood spilled down the sides of her lips, she mustered the last scraps of her strength, and with it she forced out the parting words, carefully chosen and enunciated to ensure he heard every last one. You pitiful man. What kind of hopeless fool would throw their life away just to kill a worthless prostitute? She cursed him as her life slipped away. Double curse again! Another character with double curse. Yukimasa, however, let out a laugh and muttered, "Don't you worry, I still have enough control to not act sheerly on impulse." Jesus. Hey Yukimasa, you heard about that whore you've been banging? She was killed last night, cut to pieces like the others. Okay, I really thought like Yukimasa wanted to like meet the person that is like actually killing him this like recently. So that was Yukimasa all the time, I think, then. Just played the act. My bad. I didn't pick that up. I swear, it's like a trouble follows you whenever you go. Oh Lord Almighty, stay away from me, man. I don't wanna catch the attention of whatever ever spirit taken a liking to you. That was probably best. He will be safer keeping his distance. Yukimasa gazed oddly at the port town as it faded out of the view. He then turned towards the ocean. That vast, familiar blue expanse. Waves against the boat sounded vaguely like a splashing blood. Can I ask you something, Pauline? Okay, he's back. He's back home, I guess. Yukimasa said in the warm embrace of his sweetheart. Anything. What did you think if I were actually an unspeakable evil man? Huh? Where would that come from? She asked with a smile, evidently assuming the question was in jest. Evil curiosity. Well, bad people come in all shapes and forms. What sort of bad things would you do? How about committing murder? Deceiving people? The words that came out from Yukimasa's mouth were not the ones he prepared to say, which came as a surprise even to him. Murder, deceiving people, okay. I don't be able to say what he had wanted. What reason would he have possibly had? Wait, so he wanted to say committing murder, but instead he said deceiving people? That's what it means? Huh. Did he not want to raise any suspicions? No, that wasn't it. Is being dishonest really evil? Sure, it's bad if you lie to cheat someone out of their money or cause them pain, but I'm perfectly honest with everyone they meet. I try to be straightforward and truthful as best as I can, but I'm sure I slip from time to time. So listen to me, Yukimasa. Pauline gave a wide, infinitely loving smile. Even if you have something to hide, something you're ashamed to tell me, I won't change how I feel about you. You've got nothing to worry about. Besides... I plan to be with you for years and years to come. You want to know what my live streams is? I'd love to. My dream is to live out a long, quiet life with you. Yeah, we know how it ended. I don't need anything extravagant, just an ordinary life. Slowly growing older, having 3, maybe 4 children. We would never fight, and eventually, before I knew it, I'll be an old lady thinking, it was an eventful life. That was the best I could have asked for. That's the life I want. And what about you? Now he understood. He didn't want to risk cracking the foundation she provided him, the sanctuary she formed around him. Yes, I too wish for a peaceful life with you. And we all know how it ended. The wish didn't really come true. Okay, that's the episode of Defectives. So next, the painting ramblings. Perhaps... Painting ramblings. White-haired girl father? The painter from the first door? George's? Maybe George's. Anyway, we'll see this in the next episode. Thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you in the next one. So click that like button if you liked the episode, subscribe for more, check my Discord, and become a member if you'd like to support me and see episodes earlier. Thank you once again, and for the Pocket Watch, let's get out.